Hello everybody, welcome to Best of British Blackwell. Back with you after a couple of weeks off, had a nice family holiday. So apologies if you've missed out on my videos, but I'm going to make up for it for you today with some real decent comfort food. What am I going to be making today? Well, I'm going to be making a couple of things. One of the comments on my video for the ribs is that it was a bit not complicated, but was a bit too involved with checking the oven, topping the water up and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to show you a one-pot rib recipe using the slow cooker, which is something that you can do really easily indoors. Just load all the ingredients up first thing in the morning before you go to work, and then enjoy some really fall off the bone ribs when you come in. The second thing I'm going to be doing for you is some wonderful chicken wings. And I'm going to be using this stuff here, which is Red's Heavenly Chicken Barbecue Rub. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how you can win some of these as well. So I'm going to be giving them away. So come over, have a look at what we've got in terms of the ingredients that we're going to be using today, and I'll talk you through it step by step, starting off with the ribs. So let's start off with the ribs, and let me talk you through some of the ingredients that we're going to be using here. I'm going to try this out for the very first time. It's called the Creative Cook, and it's a yakitori marinade, which is, it's described on the bottle as deliciously sweet and sticky with the richness of soy. So I'm going to be using this instead of soy sauce, which I sometimes use with my rib recipes. The trusty barbecue sauce. We've got some liquid seasoning. We've got some Bloody Mary spice mix, which I always use with the ribs. It really gives them an extra kick. Some Stubbs hickory liquid smoke. Obviously get that smoky texture if you're cooking indoors. We've got some garlic granules here. We've got some Cajun seasoning. We've got some Creole seasoning, and we've got some aromat, which is just a basic kind of all-purpose seasoning. And like I said, here we've got the chicken rub, which we're going to be using on the wings a little bit later. But stay tuned to the very end of this video to find out how you can win a packet of these, which I'll just send out to you. So, final ingredient, obviously some nice baby back ribs. So let's get going making this barbecue sauce. First thing we need to do is get our slow cooking pot, and this is what I'm going to put the sauce straight into. We'll get ourselves a mini whisk. Now, first things first, all of the barbecue sauce in there. Get it all in. And then a trick that I like to use, just to make sure you get all the sauce out of the bottom, is put a little dash of water in the bottom of the bottle, put the lid back on, give it a really good shake, and as you can see, most of the sauce is at the bottom. Plus, we were going to add a bit of water into this later on anyway. So that's perfect. Now we get the yakitori marinade. I'm going to put about half a bottle in there, and I will test the sauce a little bit later on just to see how it's tasting and see if it needs a little bit more. We get some liquid seasoning in there, which I find is better than using salt and pepper, because you're slow cooking. You don't want you lose the effect of the salt and pepper, but you can just keep adding this stuff here, which is great. Some Bloody Mary spice mix, which is actually really quite spicy. Not too much of that, but you can certainly taste it a little bit later on. And some Stubbs hickory liquid smoke. So this kind of just helps you get a really smoky flavour to those ribs without having to put them on a barbecue. Weather outside today is awful, so doing these ribs on the barbecue wasn't really an option. And then you get your kind of stock garlic granules in there. Some Cajun seasoning to add a little bit more spice. Some Creole seasoning, which I absolutely love with ribs and with prawns. And then finally some aromat, which gives you that, kind of another element of seasoning in there as well. It's got some celery salt in there as well, which I think is really good. Now, just give that all a decent mix up. And this is the sauce that we're going to use to coat the ribs. So for our ribs, We've just got some beautiful baby back ribs here. I just got these from my local butcher. Now they've been inside a vacuum pack. So what I like to do is get some tissue and just take the excess juice and blood off of these. I think once it's been in the vacuum pack, you do need to take that off. I wouldn't do this with steak, but I do it with pork. Don't think those juices kind of add anything. And then you just get a nice sharp knife. And all we're doing is going to cut in between the bones here and take these individual ribs off. And they are perfect bite-sized portions. Like I said, got some friends coming over later to tuck into these, and they're just a perfect kind of bar snack for indoors. And all we're going to do with these once we've cut them through is whack them straight into our sauce. Just finish this one here. You'll notice that I'm not cutting any of the membrane here. I'm going to leave that on because they're going to be cooking for so long. If you cut the membrane off of these, they will literally fall off the bone inside the cooking pot, and you don't really want that. You want people to be able to take them out, get a decent bit of meat on there, a decent bit of sauce, and start eating them straight away. If you cut the membrane off, they'll just completely fall apart. And then once you've done all of these, you just take a pot and just literally get them straight in there, covered in this sauce. Okie dokie. Ribs all covered in the marinade, sitting in the sauce inside the slow cooker here. This is my small slow cooker, where they're absolutely wonderful things to get hold of. I think this cost me about £15. And you see you've got the settings on the front here, which is off, high, low, medium. I'm putting these on low. They're going to be cooking in here for about 8 hours. You can leave them longer if you want to, or alternatively it will take about 6 hours on medium or 4 hours on high. But sometimes I find that the meat starts to toughen up a little bit if you have it too high and cook them too quickly. So we're just going to have them on low for 8 hours, and you don't really need to mess with them. Just keep an eye on the sauce levels. You might want to top up a little bit more barbecue sauce, and actually towards the end of the cook, because some of the sugars in the barbecue sauce and the soy sauce that I've used there could start to evaporate, you might want to add a little bit of honey, which is what I do later. I also add a little sprinkle of mustard powder as well, just to get that spice back in there, but you don't have to do that. You could just leave these. Okay, next we'll move on to preparing the chicken wings. So moving on to the chicken wings, we're going to prepare these now so we don't have to worry about it too much later. And what we're going to use here is some quite simple ingredients. I'm going to be using this Red's chicken barbecue rub, which is brilliant. Discovered it about a week ago. Absolutely love it. Love Red's as a restaurant as well. So delighted that they've started to make their own rubs. First things first, we get a little bit of oil into the bottom of the bowl. See if we can get a little bit more in there. That's lovely. Get the chicken wings straight into the oil. You're not trying to put too much oil in here. All you're trying to do is get enough oil in to give the chicken skin a decent coating of oil. And then that way, the rubs that you're going to use will stick quite nicely to the skin on the chicken. Give it a little toss around in that bowl. As you can see, chicken wings are covered quite nicely. They're glistening away there, which is perfect, which is exactly what we want. Get some seasoning in there. I'm using aromat again. Decent bit of seasoning in there. Then get a decent amount of your rub. And then finally what I'm using is some chicken fry mix. Sorry, I'll show you that properly there. Some decent chicken fry mix. I bought this in a kind of ethnic supermarket down in Crawley, and it's perfect for frying chicken. So you can cover chicken in some milk and then some flour, and then put some of this stuff on it, and then shallow fry it in the pan, or like we're going to do with these chicken wings later, we're going to deep fry them. And this is lovely. It actually tastes very similar to the kind of chicken that you get from KFC. So I would definitely recommend going out and getting a bit of this. It's lovely, and it works lovely with other meats as well. You don't have to just use it with chicken. Right, let's get these in there. And there's no pretty way of doing this really, so just, you could get your hands in here if you wanted to, but I don't want to today. So I'm going to use my tongs, and then we go back in again with the rub, back in again with the fry mix, and we just make sure all this chicken's got a lovely, decent, thick coating of all of these rubs and spices around the outside. That looks lovely to me. They look nice and well coated, and you can always tell when the pieces of chicken separate when you're kind of tossing them around. I made an awful mess there, but there we go. Finally, what we want to do is cover these over, because we're not going to use them just yet. So get yourself some cling film, just cover them over until you're ready to start frying them off. And when the ribs are done, a little bit later on, I'll show you how you fry these. As with a lot of the get-togethers that I do, a few more people than expected have turned up. Now, with the amount of food that I prepared in the slow cooker and the wings that I got out of the freezer last night, you know, sometimes that can prove a bit of a problem. But actually on a day like today, when people are just kind of picking at the food that we're cooking, that's not too much of a problem. I'm just going to make some loaded fries. Very simple really, just get your hot fat in your deep fat fryer as hot as you possibly can. Fry off some French fries or some chips. I find that the frozen oven style chips are absolutely perfect for that. Just going to load them straight on to this plate without dropping as many as possible. Isn't always the easy part. Just load them onto a plate and try and level them out a little bit if you can, because these are going to go on the grill in a second. What I first do is get some bacon. These are called dirty fries as well, I think some people call them dirty fries. I like to call them loaded fries, they sound a little bit more appetizing. And then I get some mozzarella. Just load up the mozzarella here. And then there's some cheddar cheese on the top as well. And then we just get this stuff straight under the grill, and they'll be ready in about 2 or 3 minutes after being under the grill. While we're waiting for the loaded fries to grill, great time to get the chicken in. You can see it's still got that lovely coating on it that we put on earlier. Again, the oil's quite hot, about 170 degrees centigrade. Just drop those straight in there. These might take between 5 and 8 minutes to cook. Okay guys, there we have it. All finished. Slow cooked ribs made in the slow cooker. Slow cooked for 8 hours. Looking absolutely lovely, as you can see. All of the barbecue sauce that we've made earlier is rendered down into a nice thick sauce, which I've glazed those ribs with. Nothing else done to that. The meat is absolutely falling off of the bone. Let me grab my tongs before I get my hands in there. As you can see, meat just absolutely falling off the bone, all over the place. Perfect. Just next to that, a few more people turned up, so we've got some loaded fries here, or dirty fries, whatever you want to call them. Just some French fries with some cheese, some spring onions, some barbecue sauce, and some chili and garlic mayonnaise. Over here, perfect chicken wings, which we made with that lovely Red's chicken rub earlier. Absolutely perfect. And just as some sides here, we've got some sour cream with some spring onions and some little stuffed peppers there. Now, for your chance to win a packet of the Red's Heavenly Chicken Barbecue Rub, all you need to do is watch, like, comment on this video and share it with your friends. And the first 5 people to do that on my Facebook channel will get sent one of these absolutely free. Okay, so please just get sharing away, liking away, watch the video and try some of this cooking out. It's really simple, perfect for a little match day when all the football's on in the background, and you've got your friends around. Perfect little mini bites here. So enjoy, guys. Thank you again.